Hi, everyone. Okay, so if you are on your own self-help personal growth process, you know that there's so many ups and downs. Some days you feel so great, like, wow, look at how much progress I've made. I'm doing so well. I've got everything together. And other days you just feel lost or low energy, or you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just like this giant worm that's rolling around, not knowing like what I'm doing or like what I'm supposed to do. One of the biggest parts about personal growth is learning how to reprogram your mind so that you are talking to yourself in a way that is productive. And I know everyone's always like, oh, just like stop all the negative self-talk, okay? I never found that to be straightforward or easy. I was always like, yeah, great. No, I know I'm supposed to do that, but how do we do it? Like, give me a step by step. Okay, so in today's video, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through 3 examples of how to actually talk to yourself, how to change the language of your mind, how to create new pathways in your mind, and how to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. So what's important to know is that our thoughts actually create our emotions, okay? And if you think about it, your emotional state is something that can really affect like the quality of the day that you have, okay? And if you're just letting any thought in there willy-nilly, right, you're gonna have a bad day. So you really want to think about, okay, can I have some kind of system or some kind of awareness, some kind of gatekeeper that helps me figure out like what thoughts am I even letting into my brain? And the reason why we have to be reflective about this and careful about this is because I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes it's like, that's not even my thought. That's not even my thought. When I work with people, sometimes they'll say things and I just get a feeling of like, wait, that doesn't even sound like you, right? And I'll push them and I'll be like, well, where did you hear that? Where did you hear that? And they'll be like, I don't know. I don't know where I heard it. Oh, I guess someone had mentioned that to me as a possibility. And then it like wormed its way into my brain. And now this is like it's just, I can't get it out of my head now. Now that they've said it, I can't stop thinking about that. And that's where you have to be like, okay, that makes perfect sense because that's not even you. Like that's some random person just talking and then you've like adopted that thought as your own and now it lives in your brain. Like we need to have a little bit of a checkpoint. We need to be a little bit more careful because a lot of times the thoughts that are running through your brain aren't even yours. Like they could be, I'm always like, whose voice is that? Is that your mother's voice? Is that like a frenemy's voice? Like who is that? Because that doesn't sound like you. You know, I really think we're just always in the process of trying to come back to ourselves. The original self, the true self, the version of us that is hopeful and has energy and creativity and has a capacity to love and to create. Okay? And part of this process is shedding, is unlearning, is letting go of random crap that you're like, wait a minute, this isn't even mine. This doesn't belong to me. Like, why am I wearing this? Like, this is not mine. Okay. So as we are on this journey of personal growth, right, it really is coming back to yourself, because the original you is cool. The original you is fun. The original you is like sarcastic and funny and like don't give two craps what other people think. You know what I mean? So we are always trying to get back to that version of ourselves. And there's just so much residue that we accumulate as we go through life, especially if you are in like a high achieving environment. There's so much unspoken kind of language or unspoken norms, expectations of things that you should be doing and ways that people express their little disappointments in you that then become internalized. But like, where's the fun in that? I really don't want us to all to be like walking around with all of these little disappointments as a coat. that we wear, like scarves of resentment, jackets of disappointment. Like, I don't want to wear this stuff. I want to be in a metaphorical tank top, running around, showing off my toned arms. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want us to be more careful about the things that we take on that do not belong to us. Okay, so I'm going to take you through 3 examples that I've written out. All right. And the process here is similar to the last video where I was talking about defrosting, where you go from a state of like frozen to defrosting, sort of room temperature to warm, and how that doesn't happen immediately. Like, that actually requires time and persistence and patience, right? For something to defrost all the way up to warm. Okay, so we're going to use the same concept here, but in this exercise, we're going to do it based on a number scale. Okay, so the number scale I want you to think of is, think like elementary school scale. Okay, neutral is here. On this side, we have -10, all the way up to neutral to +10. Okay, that's the scale. That's the scale that we're going to be working with. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a negative thought, bring it up to neutral, which is harder than you think and also kind of fun. Like, we're going to have fun. And then go all the way up to +10. The difference that you're going to feel in your body, in your energy, in your posture is like night and day. Okay, first example is, and these are thoughts that you're thinking to yourself, right? First example is, I don't know what to do next. Okay? I want you to connect with that thought and that energy. So when you are in a place where you're like, I don't know what to do next, right? That usually triggers other companion thoughts, right? So I don't know what to do next is also code for, and I won't ever know what to do next. And therefore, fill in the blank. And therefore, I am slow. Therefore, I am useless. Therefore, I am a loser, right? Negative thoughts have lots of friends. They're very social. Once you have one negative thought, it attracts like 15 others, okay? So let's take the example of, I don't know what to do next. I'm spinning out of control, right? Therefore, I am useless, right? Therefore, I'll never figure it out, okay? I don't know if you guys have had this thought pattern. It is something that I personally have experienced. It's something I've witnessed in a lot of the people that I've coached. Okay, so that is a very typical pattern. You don't know what to do next. Why? Because it's hard to figure out. Life does not come with an instruction manual. You don't know what to do next. You can't figure it out. You don't know how to figure it out. You don't know where to start. What the heck? What do I do now? Okay, how do we bring a statement like that to neutral? Neutral meaning it's more observational. It's more just stating of facts versus imbuing it with some destiny, some negative destiny. We want to remove the negative destiny. Okay? So something you might try to bring it up to neutral is even as simple as, I don't know what to do next right now. I don't know what to do next right now, and that scares me. Okay? Just staying in the present moment, not projecting into the future, just present moment. And that terrifies me. And that makes me feel a loss of control. And that makes me feel fill in the blank. We can also try something like, I don't know what to do next. And that is a normal response given where I am right now. Okay, then you can start filling in. Why is it a normal response? It is a normal response because I've just changed jobs. It is a normal response because I'm 26 and I haven't been working for that long and I've only been in one industry. So it is scary to think about what else might be out there. It is a normal response because I'm 37 and a mom of 2 and I've just taken some time off of work. And so of course I'm feeling disoriented. Of course I'm feeling tired. Right? Give yourself the grace of recognizing where you're at and just laying the cards on the table. Like, yeah, of course I'm feeling lost. Why? Fill in the blank. This is a normal experience. We can also do some observation around the kind of sensations that we're feeling. I am feeling lost and I'm feeling my heart pumping harder than normal. I'm feeling lost and I'm feeling a knot in my stomach. Right? These are actually neutral statements because they're just observations. They also pull you into the present moment. It's better to actually feel it than to pretend you're not feeling it and then have to live in this pretend life where you're like, no, I'm fine. You're not fine, right? Let's think about how to bring it to the positive. Okay, so we're going from 0 to positive 10. And even that is a little extreme. I mean, I might say, let's just get to 5. Let's get to 5 first. 5 might sound something like, I don't know what to do next. I have been here before. I have been here before and I have figured it out. It wasn't pretty, but I figured it out based on the support I had and my inner resilience. I think I can rely on those things again. Another way in is to actually acknowledge the fear that you have and let it speak. Okay, so I don't know what to do next. That scares me because I don't want to let anyone down. And I'm really afraid that I'm going to make a mistake and that I'm going to waste time. Okay? The more that we can articulate our fears in a very specific way, because what's so interesting, and I think this is why this is a fun exercise, what's so interesting is that everybody's fears are a little bit different. And instead of just having it be, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I'm stuck, go a level deeper and really hang out with that fear and be like, okay, but what is it specifically that I am afraid of? Try to use your imagination and come up with what is it that I'm scared of. Because the more specific you can get, the more you can look it in the eye. And the more, oftentimes our fears just also, every part of us, want to be heard. They are there to protect us. The fear is there to protect us or to give us insight into our next step. Okay, obviously the fear also wants you to not move and not change anything because it's terrified of change and unpredictability, but it also is giving you information. And a lot of the pain that we experience comes from not being in touch with that information. Not being willing to say, okay, but tell me what's going on. I want to hear it, right? Part of it is unsilencing ourselves and being like, no, share with me specifically, what is it? And you might come across something. You might realize, wait, there is this really specific fear about being perceived by my coworkers and how I feel like I'm behind because there's this one annoying girl who is faster than me and smarter than me and prettier than me, and that is what's bothering me. That competitive stuff is bothering me. Great. Let the cat out of the bag. Now we know what we're dealing with here, right? I think one thing about bringing it into the positive too is it's not meant to sugarcoat. It's not meant to be and you got this, girl. It's not that. It's about laying out the truth and saying, no, but really, what is true in my situation? Maybe the truth is that I do have to go through this pain cave in order to get to the other side because I'm trying to figure something out about myself. Or there's something about myself that I need to accept and love before I can get through to the next stage. And what is that thing? Okay, so it's not about just sugarcoating it and being yeah, rah, rah, fake cheerleading yourself. It is about being honest. Being really honest. And also honest, because we're so used to being honest, being negative. But honest also in the positive. Honest in also your true nature of how resilient you are and how great you are and how funny you are and how you have gone through things like this before and it's actually made you stronger. Or you've gone through things like this before and it destroyed you. And you are not the same. But the fact that you're trying, the fact that you want to be better, means you eventually will be better. Example number 2, we're going to do one around creativity and art. Okay, so something you may find yourself saying, the negative self-talk, would be a phrase like, my art is a waste of time. Okay, there's like 1,000 variations, but let's pick one. My art is a waste of time. My voice doesn't matter. It's not even good anyway. Nobody cares. I guess that's like 6 things. But like I said, I'm telling you, negativity has friends. It's like you think one thought and then there's 10 other negative thoughts just are like, hey, I'm here for the party. Like they just love to hang out together. Okay. And this is also what I'm doing is we have to disarm this. Okay. We have to kind of be like, poke fun at it too in a loving way. Otherwise we'll never get through it. So this example is one where we are unsure of our place in the world. We are minimizing our contribution. We are trying to save ourselves the pain of wasted time by being like, there's no point. You're not saying anything interesting or new anyway. Nobody cares. Right? Again, whose voice is that? Is that something like your mom or dad said to you? Is that something like some mean art teacher, some bitch ass art teacher said to you 15 years ago? That's just not true. Like there's so many people that have stamped out their own light that when they see someone else's light, they just like can't help but like shit on you too. And I have nothing to say to that except you're just mean. Like get out, right? And the worst gift that they gave you is that those thoughts just still hang out in your brain. And you're like still carrying it around. When in fact, that was their junk. That was their negative self-talk, that there's so much of it spilling over, that they're just so generous in sharing it with everybody they meet, right? That's just mean. We don't need that, okay? We don't need to be doing that. We don't need to be living that life, please. Thank you. So we have the negative thought. Now let's bring it to neutral. Neutral might be thinking about, well, what is your relationship with art? Because the fact that you're even struggling with this means it matters to you. Right? So maybe we focus on why it matters. So maybe it's, I am continually called to do this art. I recognize, this is the neutral. I recognize that I may not always feel connected to the art, purposeful with the art, or understand the outcome of the art. But I cannot deny that I keep being in conflict with this, or I keep being pulled into this. So good or bad, praised or not, seen and recognized or not, somehow I am being asked to do this. I am being called. Being in conflict with something is being called to it, right? Do you understand that? Like your struggle, you're being like, oh, I want to do this, but I hate it. Oh, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it. Like that is actually a call. You wouldn't struggle with something if you didn't care about it. Right? So a neutral may be just observing, I am in a struggle with my art. I am in a struggle with my art, which feels uncomfortable, but I'm in a struggle with it because I care, clearly. Right? That is bringing it to neutral. It's diffusing some of that negative spiral energy. Now, positive, I mean, this is the fun part, is you can really take it any direction that you want to. But I mean, I really need you to be calling some goddess, high priestess, warlock energy here. I mean, this part needs to be powerful. Okay, so it may be something like, I sit with my art and I am a creator. It is through this process that I am changed. I am in relationship with my art. I am powerful when I make art. I have important things to say, if only to myself. I am improving my relationship with myself by being in relationship with creativity and with art. Another powerful statement might be something like, I don't care what anybody thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It is not about the outcome. It is about the process. And this process is as important to me as breathing. Maybe even something like, I pledge my life and my energy to the continued discovery of my artistic process. And yeah, this stuff gets intense. Like, it is intense. And that's why you may feel like, oh, I don't want to be too much. I don't want to take up too much space. I don't want to, like, who am I to make all these declarations? You're like a magical person. That's who you are, right? This is the truth. The truth is simple and the truth is powerful, and the truth has the ability to just like strike through. Okay? And that level of power can be, if you're not used to it, by the way, you are used to it because it flows through your veins and it powers you. But if you're not used to giving it voice or allowing it to be in charge, it can feel almost, we're taught to be so like prim and proper and like, oh, just like keep your head down and like bow. And like, we're just taught to be very subservient sometimes. It can feel almost morally wrong for you to proclaim these things about yourself. But again, look for the truth. The truth feels powerful. The truth is big. And so please give yourself permission to just go there. You deserve it. Example number 3, it's one around procrastination. Okay, so this is when you feel impatient with yourself. And so a phrase or something you might say to yourself is like, I'm such, is part of it. I'm such a time waster. I never get anything done. Okay, and then all of its friends come around and they're like, yeah, and you're a loser and you're falling behind and like you're just unfocused. And why do you have 15 projects at a time? Like all of that. Okay, so we know what sandbox we're playing in now. How do we bring that to neutral? So there is a bit of this sort of acceptance voice and love voice that we want to activate. And the acceptance voice sounds something like, yes, good things take time. Good things take time and we're not going to rush it. And this is part of the process. Okay, sometimes I think about, do you guys ever do like a slow cooked onion? I've been doing a lot of slow cooked onions lately and they're so good. But did you know that to like properly slow cook an onion, like really caramelize it and like let it blah, it takes 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Like legit, like that's just how long it takes. And like low heat and a little bit of salt and you're just like stirring gently. So sometimes I just leave it, put a lid on it, let it steam a little bit, right? But to get to that complexity, caramelization, it takes forever. All right, think about like a really great stew that you make or like a soup that's like simmering on the stove. My mom, she makes this like chicken soup in the crock pot, and she'll put like the chicken bone, like old chicken bones, like from a, if you eat a chicken, and she'll put the bones in, and then she'll cut up celery and she'll do carrots. And I've tried to make chicken soup so many times, but I drank her soup and I was like, what? Like, what happened? She's like, okay, the thing about this soup is I was like, did you put some of those like Chinese herbs? Like, why does it taste so good? She's like, nothing. I put nothing. She's like, it's the celery, Mandy. It's the celery and it just takes time. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you notice I'm cooking this 6 hours, minimum 6 hours. I was like, 6 hours? Okay. She's like, yeah, has to cook for that long. And then she told me another tip. She's like, also, I skin the carrot. I was like, well, why do you skin the carrot? Because like I'm using the soup as like scraps. I just throw whatever in there. She's like, no. Needs to be new carrot skinned to really release the fragrance. So I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, like my mom is a master. Who told her to skin a carrot? Anyway, it was the best thing I've ever tasted. And here's the takeaway. Good things take time. So we are going through life rushing, trying to create everything in record time, be like the youngest person ever to achieve this or the fastest person ever. Oh, I went through all these levels as quickly as possible. But do you realize that the best things are actually take a long ass time? Think about my mom's soup, okay? I wish you guys could have this. It's so good. And her favorite thing, I don't know if you guys have Asian parents or immigrant parents. My mom loves that. My mom brags when there's no salt added. Do your parents do this? She'll be like, I didn't even add anything. No, barely any salt. I'm like, okay, mom. But I think that's like speaks to the integrity of the ingredients. Like, I didn't even need to add anything. It's just the natural aromas, barely any salt, you know? Okay, so the neutral statement is things take time. It may just take a little longer. I also like to use a traffic analogy where, like, you can't predict things. Like, sometimes there's traffic. Sometimes there's traffic on the road and you just have to go slower and it's fine. You're still going to get there. Okay, so still going to get there leads us into bringing it into the positive. Okay, so what would a positive version of this statement be? Things are taking a little longer. Good things take time. I will get there and I will savor the process. I will enjoy this process. It's not about the outcome. I am in an unfolding. I am in a butterfly opening. I am in a transformational, transmutational moment. It's going to take a hot minute. Stop rushing. Take your time. Take your time. You know when you are like running late or you like email and then you're, oh, sorry, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And then the person texts you back and they're like, take your time. Aren't you just like, yeah, you're like a ride or die for life. I like love when people are just like, take your time. We need to say that to ourselves. Take your time. Okay, so those were the 3 examples. I hope that maybe one of them resonated with you. You were able to take something from this. Again, to recap, this is all about how we talk to ourselves. Do you realize that is the key to unlocking greatness? Is just being nicer and more productive to yourself. Recognizing when those thoughts don't even belong to you. You're like, whose sweater is this? This is not mine. Okay, donation bin. Like, it's not yours. Let it go. Replace it. Practice replacing the thought with a neutral thought and then bringing it up to a positive thought. You guys can do this. I'm so excited for you. I love this community. Thank you for being here. And as always, I will continue to make videos for you and have an awesome week. Okay, bye.